not the time to lose. The team has worked really hard to get back to this point, put a lot of focus and energy in these first 2 games, and they can't stop what they're doing. The Bears swept ETSU in the regular season, but Bucs head coach Brittany Azell said a loss isn't a loss until you lose the lesson. She knows her teams need to be really good today, but hoping to see that what they've learned in those previous meetings shows up.
Early on, a shot attempt will go out of bounds and back over to Mercer. And there's Erica Haynes-Overton, the freshman we just talked about. Give you the starting lineups for ETSU. This is the 8th different starting lineup they have used this season, going very guard-oriented for obvious reasons because Mercer is so good. So they've had to battle through some injury issues this year, and Brittany Azell has really had to change it up. As for the Mercer Bears, a group that's been together for a while, you see Rachel Self with the ball right now, an imposing figure inside, really complements their outside game.
Both these teams are going to play a lot of man-to-man. ETSU known for their pressure. They want to press off of makes, look for them to extend the floor defensively. And right away, though, Mercer drawing first blood.
Amanda Thompson for Mercer, but playing in her virtual own backyard here in Asheville. She's from Hayesville, North Carolina, just down the road. Mercer going for a 5th straight win in the series. Will stop and pop that time. And the freshman of the year in the SOCON ties us up. Haynes-Overton with the basket.
Great little matchup. We're seeing Kahlia Lawrence defending Haynes-Overton. That time Haynes-Overton getting the better of her, but Lawrence is going to win. And then you can see there's some determination on her face that both these teams aren't going to back down, but it's who has the best cast around them. And even just seeing Amanda Thompson putting up that first shot, she's one of those wild cards that if she's getting her points, they're tough to defend.
Snowden, the miss, got her own rebound, but the arrow points the way of Mercer. Well, the Bears dominant of late in this series, but it's all tied up at 18. And this is just the second SOCON tourney meeting for the two, obviously, since Mercer just joined the league and ETSU just came back in a few years ago. And that was in the 2015 semifinals, and ETSU picked up the victory in that one.
ETSU probably has their best defender, Jada Craig, on Kahlia Lawrence. She in that semifinal game, she did such a great job defending Hannah Nichols. It just was so hard for anybody to get anything going.
You can score 19 points a game when you can first go inside high off the glass and then hit a fadeaway with a defender in your face. Lawrence, a quick 4.
Mercer, and by admission, Susie Gardner said, I've never been a really big defensive-minded coach. This year they have been, and she credits a lot of their success for that. They play a very aggressive man-to-man, coming way out beyond the arc to defend.
Gianna Tarter, top scorer for ETSU. She can't convert that time. Here comes Mercer looking to build their biggest lead in the early going. They are a prohibitive favorite in this game. There's no doubt about it. As the number 1 seed, a nationally ranked team, ETSU has overachieved this year. They were picked 4th. Came into the tourney as the number 2 seed. It'll take a really scrappy defensive effort and maybe a bouncer or two, as Kiki Calloway couldn't get it to go, but there's Amanda Thompson, top rebounder, recycling the shot clock.
And great move by Amanda Thompson. She kicks it back out, and why not use the clock? She wasn't in a position for a great stick back. And then you have Sydney Means at the top, the best ball distributor on the team with 8 assists a game. Point blank pass. Self couldn't get it to fall, but again, breaking down that defense.
A lob ahead, and Sadasia Tips able to finish for ETSU. Brings it back within a couple.
Tips runs the floor so well. Good look up the floor. Great attack on the fast break. You're going to see that that's part of ETSU's offensive game plan, and really push in transition.
There's a really good distributor, number 1, Sydney Means. And Lawrence losing her footing. Snowden, but Means able to get it. Thompson, and the ball then eventually kicked on the right wing. Well, she's hit him from long range. She's hit him from inside. And 6 of the 8 points for Mercer so far. 6 of the 9 points scored by Kahlia Lawrence.
Well, how about the extra pass from Self? And a very unselfish, finding her top scorer, getting the ball in a great position to knock down the shot.
Battling down low is Snowden. He's the best inside threat for ETSU. Means. And getting a hand on that one was Jada Craig. And as you say, in Jada Craig and Erica Haynes-Overton, ETSU has two very scrappy defensive players, and Tiana Tarter also complements the defense. For Brittany Zell's done a nice job in Johnson City in her 5th season. Over 200 wins as a collegiate coach. She came to ETSU after guiding the Belmont Bruins in Nashville, Tennessee, and she was a standout point guard at Alabama and also played softball when the Crimson Tide started their softball program in the late 90s while she was going to school there.
Two-sport athlete, and she has on her squad Mallory Schurer, who is also a two-sport athlete, so she can really relate to the needs of that kind of player.
Raven Dean couldn't get it on one end. Callaway fouled on the other.
Chips with a foul, but preventing the fast break, easy layup. Going to make Kiki Callaway earn it from the free throw line, where she's an 80% free throw shooter.
As a team, the Bears very good at 76% from the line. And they build on their biggest lead in the early going. They knocked off the Bucs this year, 85-65 and 63-48. Each game was competitive until the later stages when Mercer pulled away, but Mercer did that pretty much everybody. They only really had 3 close wins in their 14-0 SOCON run. A couple of 3-pointers and a 7-pointer. Everything else was a double-figure advantage. That is why she is the future of this ETSU program. Erica Haynes-Overton averages 14.5 a game.
A hard dribble to the interior, gets her defender to back up just a step, and then able to elevate, rise above to get that shot off.
Lauren, she scored 7 straight points. Thompson, what a great all-around player she is for the Bears. And now on the right wing. And Callaway, after a rare miss from the foul line, hits one from downtown. She's nearly a 40% three-point shooter.
The offensive rebounding right now has been the key factor for this lead for the Mercer Bears. They've had multiple opportunities to recycle the ball.
Tarter, ooh, she snuck one in from the left side.
Tough shot by Tiana Tarter, getting a little nudge there at the end of it, but also falling away from the basket, was able to get it up off the glass.
First basket in the game for Tarter, over 1,900 points in her ETSU career. A fine senior who just had the misfortune of playing at the same time in exactly the same number of years that Kahlia Lawrence of Mercer did, or else Tarter probably would have been a SOCON player of the year at least once. Haynes-Overton loves to pull up. Thompson gets another rebound. Amanda Thompson from Mercer so far has been cleaning up on the board. She has 5.
I like how hard Amanda Thompson plays. Susie Gardner just calls her a blue-collar worker, and even at that, a dark blue collar. She just wants to do the little things and does it well.
Oh, and that one, a rare miscue by a very disciplined Mercer team that in this tournament so far has given it up. Just 8 times in their first 2 games. Kahlia Lawrence says, yeah, now is definitely not the time to lose. Her team's up by 5.
I'll have the langoustine lobster ravioli.
For you, sir?
The original call was for langoustine ravioli. Langoustine is a tiny kind of lobster. Slight shellfish allergy rules that out. Plus, my wife ordered the langoustine. I will have chicken tenders and tater tots.
If you're a ref, you way over-explain things. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Sir, we don't have tater tots.
It's what you do.
I will have nachos.
When you're feeling hungry, you don't want to mess around with a quarter-pound meat sandwich. Instead, eat the new half-pound roast beef sandwiches. 8 ounces of thinly sliced, tender roast beef. And if you really want a quarter pound of beef, that's cool. Just eat half of one of these. Arby's, we have the meats.
At Ingalls, we have a very special family. A family of farmers, ranchers, and dairymen. Clerks, butchers, and bakers. Deli workers, pharmacists, and florists. We work hard every day to bring you the very best. And we'll continue to wake up every morning and work as hard as you do. This is our town, and we built this community together. Ingalls, your neighbor for over 50 years.
These are the student athletes. This is where they battle. These are their homes. This is where they become Rhodes Scholars and academic All-Americans. This is where titles are forever. This is the Southern Conference.
Back in Asheville, Mercer has a 5-point lead in this title game. They've led by as many as 7. We'd be remiss, though, if we didn't acknowledge that it is a much different championship Sunday here at the U.S. Cellular Center because the UTC Bucs are not playing for the title. They had played for it and won it the past 5 years, but they lost a thriller in the opening round in double overtime against UNCG. So Chattanooga out for the first time as far as not playing for the title in 6 years. The last time UTC lost an opening round game all the way back in 2005 to these very ETSU Bucs. So as you can see, it's a much different field this year in the title game.
Yeah, and it's funny because you're used to seeing a blue and gold team or blue and yellow, and we have that on the floor, but the letters are slightly different than what we have traditionally seen in this final.
Shai Kopney has had a tough tournament from beyond the arc, but the ball will stay in there. And earlier you saw Tiana Tarter try a three. There might be concern how she missed. She went just 1 of 10 beyond the arc in their semifinal victory against UNCG. She's going to have to hit a number of three-pointers today.
Well, she's just going to have to be consistent in her scoring, and she can't go through lulls or dead periods, whether it's from the arc or getting to the interior of the defense. She's going to have to find a way to find shots.
And so the turnover by ETSU, a Bucs team that gives it up about 16 times a game, but they force nearly 21. And they're going to need to be the number today. The only trouble is they face a Mercer team that is as efficient as you'll find in the country. Fewer than 10 turnovers a game by the Bears, and as we noted, in this tournament, the first 2 games combined, they've turned it over less than 10 times.
Well, they average 9 a game, which is good for second in the nation. And, so they aren't going to be able to cough it up a whole lot. However, ETSU's defense tightening up a little bit.
The senior drawing the charge against the freshman. Haynes Overton picking up the personal foul. That'll be her first.
That's a good look here. Sydney Means just maintaining contact, and then that little bump, backing out of the situation. And that's where you get the savvy of a senior against maybe the exuberance of a freshman. And Haynes Overton taking a little break here.
We've noticed that a number of times in this tournament, and it's really interesting to see players kind of grow up. And Haynes Overton, a year from now, won't make that mistake. But Alex Williams driving in, really good senior for this Mercer team off the bench. Can't get it to fall that time. So Mercer in a bit of a lull. Tarter tries to make him pay, and she does. Scoring from left of the bucket for the second time in this ball game. Tiana Tarter now with 4 points.
And that's where Tarter is so effective. He has great foot speed, can get to the hole, got ahead of the pack. Cal Lawrence not wanting to pick up a foul, and another turnover. So three rare turnovers for Mercer. ETSU's defense creating a little havoc.
Shearer tipping it to Dean. Out high it goes to Tarter.
Mercer came out hot scoring and is now quieted significantly. ETSU turning up the heat, and they're doing it with their defense.
Jada Craig, not known for her scoring in part because she's had a finger injury for a good part of the year, but she gets a bucket to make this a 1-point game after Mercer led by 7 earlier. We're coming up on a minute to go in our opening quarter of play. Lawrence being dogged outside by Shearer. She will load up inside the arc. Not going to go for Kahlia Lawrence, who got off to a hot start. But missing on that one now, 3 out of 6.
Lawrence having a lot of physical play by the defense. She's getting double teamed, so expending a lot of energy trying to elude defenders and then get that shot off.
Dean. Shearer inside, knocked out of bounds. It'll stay in the ETSU end. 36.4 seconds remaining, so you see the differential with the shot clock. Amanda Thompson did not get much of a rest. She really is an X factor in this kind of game, really in every game they played on both ends of the floor.
She is, but in particular, she's in there for her defense. Any point she gives is bonus points, but defensively and rebounding specifically is what her forte is and why she's on the floor right now.
This battle of teams with really good backcourts. Maybe it'll be decided there, or maybe one of the front court players will step up. Raven Dean would love to have that roll, and she gives ETSU their first lead of the championship game, an 8-0 run by the Bucs.
A nice little shovel pass by Jada Craig as she penetrated, picking up defenders. And here, Sydney Means drawing the foul on Craig. Again, that senior savvy.
2.7 seconds to go. And a third team foul in the quarter on ETSU, so not a huge factor. Jada Craig with that first personal. But Sydney Means will go to the line where on the season she shoots 79%. Sometimes it just feels a little bit different when you're shooting those free throws or those shots in a title game. Brittany Ezell, her team played for the title against UTC, their rival, back in 2015. Sydney Means, she knows what it's like to be playing on Sunday at the SOCON. She and her teammates want to close the deal, and she ties this game up as we're in the closing seconds of our opening quarter, and that one deflected out of bounds, and we will arrive at the end of quarter number one. Mercer going for what would be a SOCON record 27th consecutive win and a school record 30th win. More importantly, they want to win a title, but ETSU hoping to spring the upset as we head to the second quarter of play. With Robin Muller and Stormy Bonatoni, Pete Hannity with you back at the U.S. Cellular Center. Susie Gardner drawing them up, getting ready for our second quarter in a tie game for the SOCON Championship. Kahlia Lawrence has combined for 46 points in the first two games of this tournament. She scored half of the Bears' 14, but she's 0 for her past three after starting red hot from the field. Mercer Bears, we told you, they're trying to extend a big-time streak.
They've run their win streak up to one game shy of where UTC has been in the past. In particular, just like the scorching start through this tournament. 78 points in their first 2 games, but also allowing just 44. So it was their defense that was the anchor to all of that.
What a great job Susie Gardner has done with these Mercer Bears. In her 8th season, she took over the first year. They only won 2 games, but she has built this thing into a team that comes into this game at 29-2. And won at North Carolina earlier this year, regardless of where the Tar Heels are in the landscape these days. That wasn't easy. Went unbeaten in conference regular season play as Haynes Thompson tried one from way out there to beat the shot clock.
Mercer had switched up their defense. They were in a zone, forcing more time off the clock for ETSU. ETSU trying to probe, find the seam, trying to flatten that defense out, but had to settle for really a shot that was kind of out of range.
Lawrence was sure defending her. Sure didn't start in the ball game as Brittany Zell changed it up, and now inside the charge is taken. And there is Brittany Snowden, the junior out of Pensacola, Florida. 3rd leading scorer for this team, but also scrappy on defense.
And Snowden just reads this very well, feels the contact, takes the charge. She was big in their win the other night as well, coming up with some key rebounds in what was a very hard-fought ball game.
You could almost say she's their Amanda Thompson. She's their leading rebounder as well. And look at her right there with Scher and the arrow pointing back over to Mercer, so the Bears will get it back.
A slightly undersized post player, but doesn't mind mixing it up, getting physicals. Certainly gets on the floor, looking for those 50-50 balls.
Sydney Means better than 8 assists per game, so the number 1 has the ball. Chances are something's good to happen. Look at Snowden on Thompson. Isn't that an appropriate matchup of 2 really good players for their team? Now Scher coming up with a loose ball, a held ball, and we'll go back the other way.
Mercer a bit rattled, I think, with the physicality of which ETSU is playing. They're getting very tight into the offensive players. They're not giving a lot of space off the screens, and because of that, they're pushing Mercer around just a bit.
Sure, usually a more efficient player than that, but the turnover leads to the quick 2 on the other end by Kahlia Lawrence, who has 9 points, and back in front goes Mercer.
Mercer hadn't scored for a bit, so a much-needed basket from the floor there by Kahlia Lawrence, just beating the pack.
2 lead changes so far, almost had our 3rd. And we'll get a foul called, and that'll go against Tadeja Tips. And for Tips, an important post player for this ETSU team. That's her 2nd here early on in the 2nd quarter.
And she is a key factor in the post, mostly for her defense and her rebounding ability. That has a chance to get those loose balls, so a little bit different, a little bit smaller in the post is ETSU.
Means through a seam. Couldn't get it to fall. Dean with the rebound.
She had a lot of daylight, didn't put enough English on the ball to get it off the glass.
Tiana Charter with the ball, 4 points for the leading scorer, but 0 for 3 from beyond the arc, and one of her past 13. But Haynes Overton had as her place on the floor.
Yeah, she likes that. Was able to get a screen from the top, screen the top of the zone, just gets right in the middle between the 2 guards and can pull up for that soft jumper.
Kiki Calloway. And it comes down to Dean. Charter. She can raise. Oh, a little fake and can't get the finish, but she'll head to the line.
I feel like tempo is favoring ETSU right now. They're pushing the ball more. They're attacking the basket and really just forcing Mercer to have to make stops.
Kayla Potts, her 2nd foul, second on the Bears here in the quarter. ETSU with 1 so far. Charter at the line this year, 77%. And again, you get to a title game, and even the best just doesn't feel right. In terms of the pace, I really think if ETSU has any shot to win, this has got to be a game probably in the 50s, low 60s. A Mercer team that regularly gets up in the high 70s. Oftentimes, is tempo your friend? Might Brittany Zell be yelling to her team to slow it down, even if they get a high steal?
Well, she's her mindset is high risk, high reward. So she doesn't mind the tempo being up, pushing pace, pushing the tempo. In fact, I think she'd rather see that because she can sort of let the horses go. And sometimes if you try to control too much, you hamper what your individual players do best.
A rare 0 for 2 at the line for Tiana Tarter. We remain tied at 16 apiece. Just 2 points for each team as we're coming up on 6:50 to go here in the second quarter. Just 2 in the quarter for both teams, and another turnover for the Mercer Bears. Into the front court it comes. Tarter almost had it knocked away. Kopney. Boy, she is known as a three-point shooter, but she has just not been feeling the stroke here in the tournament. Bears in the front court, they've given it up 5 times so far. They turned it over just 8 times, or I should say just 6 times in their last game against Samford. Just 8 times for the first 2 games of the tournament.
Mercer having a hard time finding seams to the basket, even with their quickness. And another turnover, something you haven't seen from this team in quite a while. The exception is in their last matchup with Mercer. They had an uncharacteristic 10 turnovers.
Kopney, you just try to keep on shooting if you're in a slump. That was deflected, so it'll stay ETSU's way.
And Susie Gardner wanting to take a timeout. Perhaps just kind of settle the team down a little bit.
Breaking the action on the floor. We will step aside as well with 5:56 to go in our second quarter in a tie ball game here in Asheville, North Carolina. Kahlia Lawrence about halfway to her season average. She has 9 points so far. Here she gets them quick off the steal as Mercer forces the turnover. We are tied at 16 apiece as we return to the U.S. Cellular Center. Kahlia Lawrence, she's been here before with her veteran teammates trying to finally win a SOCON title. But whereas they forced the turnover there, the amount of turnovers Mercer has so far might be a slight concern. 6, although ETSU, last time they played, did a good job in that regard.
ETSU, last time they played, forced 14 turnovers on Mercer. And as I said, they're 9 turning it over. They average about 16 or 17, but they forced 21. And that's where they are so difficult to play against, is because they really get into the offensive players. Active hands, active bodies, a lot of physicality.
Brittany Ezell was just saying to her players in that last timeout that this is a heavyweight fight. They're going to come out swinging, but if we weren't fighters, if we weren't built for this, we wouldn't be here right now. 0-0. Show me you have toughness. Tired legs, tired bodies. We don't have them. She said she wants her players to keep attacking the rim and get rebounds like their life depends on it. She said boxing out isn't enough. I need to see everybody getting off the floor and putting their hands up, jumping up for the rebounds.
Brittany Ezell, the ETSU head coach who gave us TV gold at halftime in the ball game on Friday. And she hopes she doesn't have to be in the same mindset, as Rachel Self just picked up the personal after that Lawrence three. And there is Snowden knocking down the jumper to make it a one-point game. Kahlia Lawrence from Mercer now with 12 points to lead all scorers. That's the first bucket in the game for Snowden. And now a little hang-up in the backcourt.
Now you got a 4-on-3 situation. See if Mercer can take advantage of it. It was a good look by Sydney Means, and there's Amanda Thompson doing what she does best. That's finding ways to get to the glass, clean the boards.
Thompson came in with 40 steals in the season. That one you could almost score for both a rebound and a steal if she took it away from Dean, who thought she had it back. Earlier in the opening quarter, it was a 7-point lead for Lawrence and company. Now she has a chance to go to the line and add to this 1-point advantage.
That was a great read by Lawrence. You see that ETSU's been cheating over those screens, really working to get over them quickly. This time, she fakes to use the screen and takes it the opposite way, gives herself enough space to get the shot up, and draws the foul.
As Lawrence goes to the line for the first time in the game. Bring me to the point of where the coach speak of cheating over a screen or working over a screen. Kind of give me some of the technical aspects of how you coach a player to do that.
You want them to sort of anticipate, and so a lot of times as the screen's being set, you try to take that step closer to your offensive player and maybe start leaning towards the direction of the screen because you're expecting them to go that way and use the screen. And instead, Kahlia Lawrence doesn't use the screen, takes it opposite.
It does take some talent, though, to do what she does in that regard. Can't get the roll on the second one, but Dean tipped it away from her teammate, and now Amanda Thompson will head to the line. Raven Dean committing the personal foul, her first.
Amanda Thompson, just the cleanup girl. Stays in there tough on the missed shot. She's the one getting in there. And you can see Brittany Ezell not happy that they lost the rebound. Felt like it was in their hands.
And Thompson, 69% of the line. So Dean's first. And Haynes Overton, Schur, and Snowden also with one foul apiece for ETSU. That infraction moments ago, the third in the quarter for the Bucs. Mercer likewise. So Thompson, good work at the line. Back out to a 4-point lead for Mercer. Dean driving on Williams, and she takes it in from the right side.
Nice job by Dean. And because the defense is playing so high, and in that particular situation, Mercer was really tight on those guards. It gave Dean some openings, a little daylight, and she got ahead of her defender.
We've had several tie-ups in this game, and the arrows pointing Mercer's way. Clogging the lanes is something we've seen ETSU do quite well so far. It'll be interesting to see how you counteract that if you're Mercer. And we get a 5-second violation. That seems kind of like a quick call, but another turnover by the Mercer Bears. So a 7th in the game for them. That's the most in their 3 games here in the tournament. And obviously they're halfway to the total when they gave it up 14 times against ETSU about a week ago.
ETSU switching on everything on that inbound, and so nobody cutting hard enough to get open.
Carter tried to get her own rebound, but Means a nice job on the box out. It goes ahead to Callaway. Good recovery by Haynes Overton defensively. Callaway from downtown. Dean and Williams battle some contact, a scramble, and
Callaway a little bit off today. Normally about a 38% three-point shooter. Spends a lot of time in the gym, likes to go in there by herself and get some shots, and she's almost rushing them just a little bit. And just a little off, but once again, Mercer's post play scrappy for the loose balls.
Mallory Scher picks up her first. Now 4 in the quarter with 3:40 to go on the Bucs. Williams spinning, kicking, Means firing, making.
Sydney Means relocating as Callaway dribbling into the middle of the defense is exactly what you want your guards to do, relocate.
And offensive foul going to be the call. Tiana Tarter, as who else but Amanda Thompson was in the right place at the right time.
Good help by Amanda Thompson. A lot of contact, very aggressive offensive take, and Thompson showing a little bit of that emotion that she brings to the team.
For Tiana Tarter, that is her first personal foul. Five now on the Bucs. And off the self-miss, Thompson will be called for the foul.
Self had an open look, but just left it way short, and Thompson trying to work her way in there. Self can hit those shots, but she's going to shoot that with confidence. Can't baby it up to the rim.
First on Thompson, 4 on the Bears with 2:55 to go now before the half. 4-point game, and ETSU, from a scoring standpoint, probably in the neighborhood of where they'd like to keep it. When they played about a week ago in the ball game in Macon, it was a 63-48 final, which again, that's kind of the neighborhood they're going to need to hold Mercer in, maybe a little bit less than that. Out of bounds it goes. Susie Gardner thinks that it was last touched by ETSU. Now our officials, Billy Smith, Dawn Marsh, Nick Capel working the game today. And as you saw, Smith and Capel had a quick conversation.
A couple of defenders there, in particular Rachel Self, clogging it up, and it probably rolled off of Self's arm. It's hard to tell from that angle, but certainly just 5 seconds left on the shot clock, and that was an Achilles heel for ETSU the other night in their ball game.
Carter got it away in time, and out of bounds, it'll go the other way. Mercer is led by as many as 7 in this opening half of play, but when they did build that lead, ETSU came back to take a brief lead. They were tied after 1 quarter of play at 14 apiece. Elbow jumper for Kahlia Lawrence, who she has been a star at Mercer. I think she could be a star for a lot of teams in the country. What a game she is having. 15 first half points, back out to a half a dozen advantage.
Oh, that's just just that particular move of hers, which is probably her signature move. So good, breaking down with the defense, and as she can get her defender going backwards, she elevates and shoots off her back foot.
Well, that would have been big for Dean. Chance to build their biggest lead of the game for the Bears. A set and fire for Callaway. Kiki Callaway forcing Brittany Zell to call a timeout as the Bears have caught fire here in the late stages of the second quarter.
When you've got a point guard like Sydney Means, and she knows exactly what's going on, takes her defenders in deep, and knew that Kiki Callaway was going to be on the trail spot, who just lines up behind the arc. That's got to help her feel a little better about her scoring, and may take the lid off the basket for Kiki Callaway.
Callaway 7 points in the game. You just can't leave the leading three-point shooter in the conference that wide open. Susie Gardner's team is trying for their 30th win today, but ETSU, a ball club that achieved their 20th with their semifinal victory. Here's what their resume looks like.
14 of the last 17 games is wins, and that really sets them up pretty well. They can outscore their opponents by big numbers, and this game in particular, we talked about, it's going to be a game of runs. This is 2 heavyweight teams boxing it out hard.
Minute and a half to go before the break. ETSU had been neck and neck with these Mercer Bears until moments ago. Snowden got caught up in a trap, gets it out. Sure. Now Jean out high off the bobble. Shot clock under 10. Steal by Sydney Means. She leads them with 75 coming into the game.
Sydney Means coming in behind the play, and Dean trying to put the ball on the floor, create a little space. You don't want to do that when those little scrappy defenders in the point guard spots coming in behind you.
Under a minute to go here in the second quarter of play. Mercer going for a 27th win among their great accolades, and Amanda Thompson will head back to the free throw line where she's 2 for 2 today.
Nice job by Thompson. Again, reading how the defenders are reacting to the dribble drive, putting herself in a position to receive when her defenders go to help, and going up strong to draw the foul.
Erica Haynes-Overton picking up her second. Thompson, that rattles off. Thompson, one of the juniors who will be a core player in this team next year, along with Callaway and Self, the starting post player. Leah Rosendahl, who comes off the bench as a shooter, she'll be back. But the group of seniors, Lawrence, Means, Williams, and Potts, they have had themselves quite a run and trying to cap it off with a SOCON titles. The lead grows to 10, an 8-0 run over the past 3 minutes for Mercer. And then try to make some noise in the NCAA tourney after coming so close to winning the SOCON the past 2 years. Thompson will pick up her second foul.
Great cut by Mallory Scher. And it was a read and react. Her defender going high, and she just slipped the back cut on her after she was able to take Amanda Thompson high, and Thompson can't recover in time. Thompson with 2 fouls. They're going to get her out here last 4 seconds. And they lose a lot of that rebounding intensity. Now bringing in Kayla Potts and Alex Williams, both known for their defense, but maybe not necessarily the rebounders that Amanda Thompson is.
Sure, 73% from the line this year, and she makes it a 9-point game, coming up on 30 seconds to play. So the other day against Wofford, ETSU had a 30-point second quarter. It was not, obviously, but anywhere near that this afternoon. But the Mercer Bears get all the credit in the world. ETSU, the scrappy defense. Potts, though, kicking it to Callaway. Can't get the roll. And there's Scher getting it ahead to Tarter. Tarter with Copeney open under the hoop, and she'll finish just underneath Rachel Self, but a terrible spill for Copeney, and she is down and in a lot of pain. You see the brace on that right knee. Not sure if that's where the pain is coming from, but I believe that's the case.
It looked like she slipped. Like the floor was a little slick, and as she was going up, feet slid out from under her.
Shai Copeney, graduate student, UT Martin transfer. ETSU, that's just the latest point of pain for a team that has to get through a year in which they, as we said today, their 8th different starting lineup. Susie Gardner's team, for the most part, has been injury-free. But Brittany Ezell has had injuries, attrition. A couple of players opted to go elsewhere during the past summer just because they wanted more playing time, and you've got some stars ahead of you. That's tough. Copeney here, down now. Brittany Ezell before the game telling me that Scher, such a great role player for them for the past 3 years, has played with a partially torn ACL. The starter at one of the guards today, Jada Craig, has had a finger issue all year long. They've got others who've had various knee issues here and there. Scher has had some leg difficulty, and then some other bad breaks along the way. And playing Mercer twice in the year, that gets you tested. Non-conference ETSU, just like Mercer has, played an unbelievable schedule as Copeney continues to be attended to, and Susie Gardner admonishing her team that in the final 8.8 seconds, maybe try to add on. Copeney at least able to walk off under her own strength, although we'll see if she's able to return. But
I imagine she'll head directly to the locker room. 8.8, just go ahead, get in there, let the trainer's taking a good look at her at halftime. But, you can see here, pushing out in transition, and just losing her footing a little bit there and landing on that knee.
Chances are Lawrence is going to take the final shot. Under 4 to go, and she's going to do it at the rim and one. Kahlia Lawrence is going to have herself a near 20-point half. She already has 17, and she'll head to the line with 0.7 of a second on the clock.
That was a tough take. Let's take a good look at it here. The defender coming over to help, and the reason that's called a charge is because she's inside that arc. And Brittany Ezell sort of pleading her case, but that's because of that little charge arc that has been instituted. It makes it a lot easier for officials to make that call and gives coaches less weaponry to protest it.
Nice effort by Sure Air, but it doesn't. He's going to have to really pick up the pace as the inbound comes to ETSU to start. There's Jada Craig. Snowden out high, and interesting to see not only drawing up how to contain Lawrence for Brittany Ezell, but how to spring some shots for Charter. That's not how you do it. Amanda Thompson with the steal.
A soft pass over the top, and an opportunity for Mercer to run. Got a little clogged up there. Amanda Thompson tracking down the ball, but not creating enough space for Sydney Means to create anything for her squad.
Ball was kicked. Means inbounding, 26 on the shot clock. As it turns out, a tournament high to this point for Mercer, 7 turnovers. Not an overwhelming factor in that first half of play, but they've given it up just 8 times combined in their first 2 games. Look at that. Oh, there's an ace turnover in this game. Craig, and she's fouled, and fouled hard, and landing hard as well. Kiki Calloway will pick up the personal. That's her first, and the first on either team. And Jada Craig is up.
We're seeing an ETSU defense that's very aggressive. They're getting out as the ball's meeting the offensive player. The defensive player is right there, and with those active hands, they've been able to shake the ball loose several times, which is what's led to these runouts.
Jada Craig, 62% from the line this season, averaging just over 3 points a game, but she's more of a distributor. She's had to deal with a leg issue this year.
ETSU, they are a team that likes to get out and press. Against this Mercer Bears team, they aren't doing that. They're relying on their half-court defense with those active hands and doubling on Kahlia Lawrence whenever she gets the ball off of the screen.
Boy, look at the ball handling ability and angled shot ability of Kiki Calloway.
Kiki Calloway picking up a little scoring. We've seen that she's knocked down some threes early. Now she's putting the ball on the deck. Got to alleviate that pressure on Kahlia Lawrence by having somebody else do some scoring, and a nice steal by Amanda Thompson. Just an ill-advised pass.
2 steals so far in this third quarter by Thompson. Bears can take their biggest lead of the game here and go down for Means. There's Tips with a very important rebound. Shai Kopney left in the second quarter with a knee injury, so we don't see her on the floor, and we'll see if she has the opportunity to return.
No, she's back on the bench. She's at the head of the bench. Seems to be okay. She's involved in the game, and there's a Tips and what she brings to the ETSU team, able to put the ball on the floor from the high post and draw some contact, getting the foul.
Sadasia Tips out of Hickory, North Carolina, a junior. Just under 60% from the line this year. She'll shoot 2 and make the first. It was a year ago in this ball game that Mercer was playing Chattanooga, and they were starting to get a little roll going in the third quarter. I have a feeling in one of these timeouts, Susie Gardner is going to continue to remind her team, don't let up on the gas.
Yeah, you've got to keep the pressure on, and they have a bit of a lead. I wouldn't call it a comfortable lead, not against anybody in a championship game, and they continue to try to find ways to get Kahlia Lawrence open is going to be a big key to their success.
9-point ball game after the Tips free throws. Boy, Calloway way out there. Rebounding inside, Williams. Big putback by Alex Williams.
Alex Williams coming in for Rachel Self, who picked up that last foul. Coming in, has the ability to leap, good positioning, and gets the stick back.
Self now with 2 personals. He's headed to the bench. Inside Snowden, power move on Thompson. Thompson held her ground. Williams got the rebound. Williams end to end.
And interesting, Tiana Charter was there, but she was inside the circle, so sort of backed out of it, taking a little bit of a brush of contact, but great job by Williams, just tearing down the floor and getting a big lift off the bench from Williams.
And a turnover by ETSU. That's their 9th of the game. So after they cut it to 9, Bears with their biggest lead and a chance to get this thing out to 15 or 16 on this trip. Lawrence, she's been quiet so far in the third quarter, but that's been okay as her team has built on their lead. That time, though, she gives it up. So they had 14 turnovers a week ago against ETSU. Now they're at 9 in this game.
Now that was credits Brittany Snowden on that turnover. Comes out to double and trap on the sideline there. No room for Lawrence to go, and loses the handle. And now we do see Shy Copeney coming back in the ball game. She's in the post position. Of course, we know she's a post that likes the three-point shot.
Carter, and she finishes from the left side. She likes to finish left.
Token pressure there, and nothing to really worry about for Mercer.
A pull-up by Lawrence. Just her fourth miss of the game, and here we go the other way. Ooh, and knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Williams. Looked like she might be able to recover in time to save it from going out.
Williams with some good hands. Actually, I think that was fortuitous for Mercer because Erica Haynes-Overton was getting ahead of steam and also looking up the floor. I think she had a couple open players for a transition bucket.
Copeney trying to get one to fall, and there it is. Shy Copeney has really struggled from beyond the arc so far in this tournament, but knocking that one down. She was 0 for 4 the other day. In the ball game today, she's now 1 out of 4 from three-point range.
Another adjustment that ETSU has made is that they are not allowing Sydney Means to bring the ball up to initiate the offense, taking her out of those initial passing opportunities and consequently getting deep in the shot clock here for Mercer.
Under 5. Lawrence, shot fake, fires. Sure did a good job not to initially buy that fake so she could still distract a little bit on the actual attempt.
And ETSU doing a great job on the boards, and nobody stopping ball. You've got to have some communication. Who's got the ball handler?
Boy, Erica Haynes-Overton may have been in disbelief as she waltzed to the basket. 7-0 run now for ETSU. Susie Gardner instructing her team. Coming up on 5 to play in the quarter. 10 on the shot clock. Williams, a couple of buckets earlier in the quarter, and now a third.
Another good take by Williams, being very aggressive with her post play, putting the ball on the floor. And then Mercer getting out in that zone. They've been out-rebounded in this quarter so far.
Give Thompson the credit, forcing another turnover.
Thompson, that blue-collar work.
And Copeney will be called for the foul. And that'll be the first on the transfer from UT Martin, her only season in ETSU's program. She's loved to bring the Bucs a championship. Their fans have traveled well from Johnson City and beyond. A 41-33 Mercer lead, though, here in our third quarter. That's ETSU head coach Brittany Ezell trying to keep her team hanging in there as they break the huddle. You see the woman coming back onto the floor with the blue headband, Mallory Schur, the blonde hair, and she and her head coach have plenty in common, not only part of the same team, but like Brittany Ezell, Schur, a two-sport player with ETSU. Ezell was a basketball player at Alabama. They started a softball program while she was there, and they said, we really need you to play shortstop. Well, you need a shortstop, and she didn't. The team eventually won an SEC title during her time there, so Schur out high defending Lawrence can share the same thing as she plays for ETSU.
Schur's not much of an offensive weapon, but she has done a great job on Kahlia Lawrence, containing her, forcing her to have to give the ball up and make other people be scorers.
Arrow's going to keep it the way of Mercer, and over to our right, you don't see it right now, but the exasperated expression and body language of the aforementioned Brittany Ezell was a little something to see. She simply turned her back to the action, perhaps not to draw the attention of the officials during the game.
Probably well advised.
And if you joined us for the previous action for ETSU, there have been some emotional moments with the ETSU coach and officials who've done a fine job in the tournament. Kahlia Lawrence, heard from now in the third quarter. She had 18 points over the first 20 minutes, knocking that down, making an 11-point advantage once again for Mercer.
Guys, Susie Gardner was talking to her team in that last huddle, and she called out Alex Williams and said, great job, keep doing exactly what you're doing. But she also looked at Sydney Means and said, hey, I know you're trying, but that time wasn't a very good effort. You know you're better than that. She said to the whole team, got to keep pounding. Do not rest on a lead. And that's something she said to me at halftime yesterday. She said, sometimes we can get this lead and we start to relax. I don't want you to rest on this lead. Don't be nice. You've worked too hard. Battle every possession.
There's another example of Kahlia Lawrence working against the screen, taking the ball low, and draws the foul on Schur.
Lawrence certainly battling on every possession. She's 2 out of 3 from the line in the ball game as she returns there. 2 team fouls apiece in this third quarter. Schur just picking up that one for ETSU.
Susie Gardner instructing her point guard, and she has nothing but praise. I mean, she talked about Cindy Means as really being the catalyst for the team. She's who makes the team go. Definitely the floor general. Very high on the way that Sydney Means runs the squad.
And rattling home. Lawrence building the lead out to 12 now, 3 out of 5 in the ball game on free throws. She has 22 points in the 2 games this season. She had 21 and 15 against this Bucs team. Haynes Overton, who had that easy lane to the basket earlier, really not too much distraction from the baseline.
Nice little shot fake, and then gets by the defender, gets a friendly roll off that lip, and has a good soft touch on the ball.
Kahlia Lawrence almost had an acrobatic finish. And let's see. Mercer's going to keep it.
Rachel Self in there fighting for the ball. Has a little bit of a height advantage, long reach, and she was able to shake it loose and knock it off of a ETSU post defender.
Fresh 30, 2:50 to go in our third quarter. Had a couple of first-half lead changes as the foul's going to go against Tiana Tarter. She doth protest to Dawn Marsh, but to no avail.
Rachel Self showing a lot of poise. Your post player out beyond the arc and putting the ball on the floor with a dribble always makes you a little nervous if you're a coach. And Kahlia Lawrence coming to her tight in, gets the handoff, and is able to get contact from Tiana Tarter.
2 fouls now on Tarter, 3 on ETSU. Lawrence bodies fly, and we're going to get a blocking call. And a very late whistle from off on the wing, and it appeared some pretty heavy contact there. Lawrence and Snowden.
Bodies crashing to the floor. It's just, they're putting everything out there. I mean, this is exactly what you want your players doing. They're in the championship game. You got to do everything you can to make something happen.
And you see Brittany Ezell trying to get clarity. Wow, she's walked all the way over. She wants to go attend to her player who's hurt, but she was expressing to the official that she needed to go assist Snowden. And Shai Copney, who earlier in the game went down, also assisting Snowden, who's in a lot of pain after that contact. I want to get clarity. I'm not so sure they called necessarily a block on the initial attempt of the basket by Lawrence. A block was indicated, but perhaps that was more of a bump on the rebound try. And for a second time in this game, ETSU player having to be helped off with some type of injury issue. We'll keep an eye on the status of Brittany Snowden, the leading rebounder, and a very important piece of the puzzle for ETSU.
There's a lot of contact. It looks like the officials are going to go take a look and see where the contact was.
And let's give you a look at what the officials are going to be viewing over at the table. Tarter hit the deck. It looks like she might have taken a shot to the face, and then
that was the block.
That was the block
Snowden
right there.
Really had the block.
It's a very late whistle, though. It almost seemed like the whistle didn't come till after the rebound had been taken in. So
a lot of times the officials wait to see if the ball is scored. And because she puts the ball up so high off the glass, all that contact happened, but the ball hadn't gone through the hoop yet. So hence, it felt like a late whistle.
Yep, that's a great point. So they continue to look, and they may be looking at the contact against Tiana Tarter. They're calling Brittany Zell and Susie Gardner over because there was no whistle on that. You saw Tarter kind of hit the deck as she was trying to defend Lawrence. And it, I believe, just going to be considered inadvertent contact, which it appears to have been. And I really am not sure how any contact was made with the mouth area of Tiana Tarter.
Well, a lot of times when a ball handler is working, their other arm is in a little bit of a swinging motion because they're trying to protect the ball, so there may have been some incidental contact there. It certainly wasn't intentional. Brittany Zell not happy right now, and she's going to just have to get her team back together, regroup. Have a couple players that have been banged up, so they're going to have to become that mentally tough team that she had talked about to us the last couple days, and what Stormy had noted in the last game is that, mental toughness is different than physical strength.
Lawrence now 4 out of 6 from the line. She leads all scorers with 23. Haynes Overton in double figures for ETSU leads the Bucs with 10. 24 now for Lawrence, who has outscored the rest of her team. She has 24 of the 47 Mercer points. They've led in this game by as many as 13. They're up by a dozen after they had a 10-point edge at the half. Tarter. Here's Haynes Overton on the feed from Copney, and there's Lawrence with the rebound.
Well, we know that Tiana Tarter has the ability to take over a game. We saw that last year in a semifinal game, and we've seen it in previous games. But she's been off the mark today, and having to work to defend someone like Kahlia Lawrence takes a lot of energy out of you.
Beautiful job, senior to senior, Williams to Potts, and Kayla Potts giving the Bears their largest lead of the game, under 2 to play in the third. Good extension of defense, I think, by Mercer.
Yeah, they're really pushing beyond the three-point line. They're getting out to the shooters. It's good ball rotation that time by ETSU. And then the foul from Rachel Self, trying to go straight up, but Raven Dean doing a nice job of getting the contact.
Rachel Self picking up her third. I'm hearing what I believe is somewhat of a sarcastic or Bronx cheer from the ETSU faithful for that foul call, although the Bears with 3 here in the quarter and ETSU with 4.
I saw that on that replay. It was a good pass over the top of the zone defense. Mercer couldn't quite shift in time and gets ball inside. And Raven Dean doing what she needs to do from the free throw line.
Raven Dean, one of 4 adopted children of Musin Muhammad, the former Panthers wide receiver, and his wife. Having covered Musin Muhammad, just a really wonderful guy with a great career he had, first at Michigan State and then with the Panthers, so she has plenty to be proud of with her dad. And you see Dean in the middle of the paint there, middle of the lane rather, and able to right there induce a turnover. And I know her parents are real proud of her and all that she's been able to accomplish in this her junior year with the Buccaneers, and hoping that they can rally now from their biggest deficit of the day. They were down by 14. They've cut it to 13 points.
Well, there's still a lot of time in this ball game. Certainly a lot of play left, and there's Tips.
Oh, a
stick
big
back
foul.
and the foul.
And she'll go to the line, try to convert the three-point play. Sadisha Tips, not a big scorer for this team, but they will need her to contribute some points from a comeback. She now has half a dozen.
And one of the things she's really efficient is, and on the boards, has the miss, but gets herself in position, follows her shot. As soon as she releases, she finds a seam among those white jerseys. It gets in there for the stick back and the extra point attempt.
Without it. Easy travel for Sadisha Tips' family and friends. She grew up a 45-minute or so drive east of here in Hickory, North Carolina. A three-point play converted, and it's a 10-point game. That was the difference at halftime. We're coming up on a minute to play here in our third quarter. Lawrence seeing two defenders in her face whenever she has the ball, but she can make shots like that. Shots that champions make, and Kahlia Lawrence again building the lead, back out to a dozen with a chance to add on.
Now that was a tough shot. Kahlia Lawrence with Sadisha Tips on her, who has about 3-4 inches, but look at her fading out of it, draws the contact, gets a nice rainbow drop on it right through the net. She is just remarkable in some of her playmaking.
Someone wise in athletics once said to me, players make plays. It's really that simple. 26 points in the game for Lawrence. Make it 27. That smooth touch. Such a smooth game, too, and she scores in a lot of ways. And just impressive work. Meanwhile, ETSU trying to do something in the final minute, and a feed inside. Going to roll home for Brittany Snowden. They're happy to see her back out there.
She actually on the bench just now came out. She was smiling a little bit. Brittany Ezell grabbed her face, said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I'm fine," and checked right in.
That's a big bucket right there, because after that shot like Lawrence, that's the one that can just kind of make the whole roof fall in. Although opportunity to have some big momentum here late in the quarter for the Bears so they can score again. The defensive player of the year you see over the top of the screen right in the face of Lawrence. So you go another way and you find Thompson underneath. And for Amanda Thompson, an opportune time for her to add to her point total.
Sydney Means made that happen, drawing defenders with her ability to dribble drive, and dumps it off to Amanda Thompson, who is so good at just finding space.
And after the miss, ETSU able to get another shot. ETSU able to get another shot attempt. And so, after leading by 10 at the break, the lead is 13 after three quarters for Kahlia Lawrence and the Mercer Bears, starting to taste the title.
And a half points per game, and this Southern Conference broadcast is brought to you percent. This Southern Conference broadcast is brought to you by Ingalls. Low prices, love the savings. Arby's, we have the meats. General Shale, building the American dream. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And by Exos Digital, leaders in sports technology.
This 2018 SOCON tourney title game, a battle between the runners-up the past 3 seasons. Mercer the last 2 years, ETSU in 2015, but as we head to the fourth quarter, things are trending towards Susie Gardner's Bears for bringing home their first SOCON crown.
I expect ETSU to try to ramp up the defense in this last period.
And a bucket for Tiana Tarter, who, for all the great scoring she can do, has yet to get to double figures in points, though she now has 8. And she pulls her team within 11 early on here in quarter number 4.
Susie Gardner was just telling her team everything defense-centric. She said, focus right now, set the tone, get a stop. Don't give them any momentum. Why are they still kicking our butt inside? Don't let them drive. And she said, Sadeja Tibbs specifically manhandled us down there. Make sure that they get some stops.
And to Stormy's point, ETSU does lead in the paint coming into this quarter at 26-18, but Susie Gardner and company up by 13, just forcing another turnover, now 11 in the ball game. Kahlia Lawrence, one shy of 30 points, getting some help from her friends. Kiki Calloway knocking that one down, and Calloway now in double figures with 11 points.
A nice step back move by Calloway, and Kahlia Lawrence able to maybe take a breath or two. She does it. Keep an eye on that matchup. You've got Erica Haynes-Overton, the Defensive Player of the Year and Freshman of the Year, against the 3-time Player of the Year.
Calloway, the rebound will come down to Dean, but
pulled the trigger awful quick on that one to Calloway. It's not really a lot of people in. How about Kahlia Lawrence showing some defense there, causing the jump ball on the shot.
Arrow pointing the way of Mercer. And it seems like every time there's been a held ball today, they do alternate the arrow, but it seems like Mercer's benefited from.
Look at this move, though.
That ball.
Look at that. Just getting up above Tiana Tarter, tying the ball up in the air. Very clean move.
How refreshing is to see a player with the greatness offensively of Kahlia Lawrence have nearly 50 steals on the year. The effort is there on both ends.
She's just a very well-balanced player. You can look at any stat sheet, any stat line that she has, and this time a little bit of contact trying to get the ball up to the rim. And Raven Dean right there doing the cleanup work as she has throughout this second half.
Dangerous pass by Craig. 15-point game. Biggest lead for Mercer. Lawrence has 30 field goals so far in the tournament, 3 shy of the record. Nice move by the player they will build around in the future, the freshman and defensive player of the year, Hurricanes Overton, and she in the ball game now has a dozen.
A great read by Overton. Sees that the defenders are giving her that lane to the basket and continues all the way in.
Calloway. Williams driving inside. She's been really effective coming off the bench. And Alice Williams now with an 8-point afternoon and the lead at 15 once again.
An outstanding job of putting the ball on the floor and challenging the post defenders for ETSU. And that's where she's seen her offensive success today.
Tarter, big story in this tournament for her. She just hasn't impacted things beyond the arc. No for Haynes-Overton. Good battle for the rebound. Won by Means. Here's 7 to go. Means end-to-end. A circus shot. No. Thompson the follow.
And 2 players tangled up at the baseline. Means and Haynes-Overton. And
they will retreat to their respective benches. Brittany Zell calling a timeout, trying to slow this train, but it's been tough here this afternoon.
I'll have the langoustine lobster ravioli.
For you, sir?
The original call was for langoustine ravioli. Langoustine is a tiny kind of lobster. Slight shellfish allergy rules that out. Plus, my wife ordered the langoustine. I will have chicken tenders and tater tots.
If you're a ref, you way over-explain things. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Sir, we don't have tater tots.
It's what you do.
I will have nachos.
When you're feeling hungry, you don't want to mess around with a quarter-pound meat sandwich. Instead, eat the new half-pound roast beef sandwiches. 8 ounces of thinly sliced, tender roast beef. And if you really want a quarter pound of beef, that's cool. Just eat half of one of these. Arby's, we have the meats.
At Ingalls, we have a very special family. A family of farmers, ranchers, and dairymen. Clerks, butchers, and bakers. Deli workers, pharmacists, and florists. We work hard every day to bring you the very best. And we'll continue to wake up every morning and work as hard as you do. This is our town, and we built this community together. Ingalls, your neighbor for over 50 years.
These are the student athletes. This is where they battle. These are their homes. This is where they become Rhodes Scholars and academic All-Americans. This is where titles are forever. This is the Southern Conference.
Now the Mercer Bears are just 6 minutes and 44 seconds away from winning their first SOCON tourney title. She's one of the many Mercer fans in this arena. They have endured pain the past 2 years, but the Bears have been certainly taking it to ETSU since the Bucs rallied to take a couple of brief leads in that second quarter. A Mercer team that hopes to close the deal and make the third time the charm after falling to Chattanooga in the title game the past 2 years. Inside, Tips on a nice feed to the hole, and the foul on Self. That'll be the fourth on the post player for Mercer. And Sadeja Tips, who had a three-point play earlier, will head back to the line and try the same. She has 9 points so far.
A lot of patience by ETSU to break down the zone that time, flatten it out by getting it to the baseline, and that let Tips have the corner open, the elbow, and then a little slide through to get in front of Self.
Very well-called play coming out of that timeout, called by Brittany Zell, who knew it would be a struggle for a team today. And when you're facing an all-world player like Kahlia Lawrence, who has performed with a 29-point effort, it makes it ever the more difficult to beat such a great team like Mercer.
And Cindy Means handling that ball pressure up front and trying to get a little press going. And Means just has the ability to dribble through those things.
Means gives to Callaway, under 10 on the shot clock. Lawrence on Craig. Craig might have gotten a hand on that one. It'll be a shot clock violation. So a stop by ETSU, and now they're going to try to get a run going. Means, by the way, you noted the ability she has to distribute, and she has 6 assists so far, 21 in the tournament, just 7 shy of the tourney record. I'll tell you one thing I don't think is a good sign of this ETSU team. Charter doesn't look like she's looking to score, and she's got to be able to score down the stretch here if they're going to have any chance. Let's see if maybe she attempts a shot under 10 on the shot clock. No, it'll be Craig, and it'll come down to Callaway.
A very stagnant offense that time by ETSU, just kind of passing it around the horn and settling for a long-range shot. In order to beat a zone, you've got to flatten it out or get to the interior, and the times that ETSU has been successful, they've done just that. And Alex Williams, coming off the bench, has really given this Mercer squad a lift today.
10 points in the game for Williams, the third double-figure score for the Mercer team. Back up by 14. They had their biggest lead moments ago at 17. Here's Tarter with a step back. She knew it from the time it left her hands. It wasn't going down. She hustled for the rebound, but it comes down to Lawrence.
This is where Mercer can use a little bit of clock. They're not in any rush and pushing in transition. And, yeah, the frustration for Tiana Tarter, continuing to try to make those shots. And they're not forced shots, but she just doesn't seem to have the same energy behind it.
Williams, a strong move. She'll head to the line. So a chance to add on as Raven Dean did her best to defend, but picks up the foul. First in the fourth quarter here. And we will see free throws upcoming after this official timeout. Mercer closing in on their first SOCON title. Susie Gardner, a year ago, frustration set in late in the game when Chattanooga came back, but her team is in control. You had a feeling this arena would be Mercer's world this weekend, and its stage would belong to Kahlia Lawrence. It has.
Well, we're calling it the play of the game, but she might as well be player of the game. Just doing a little bit of everything. She's carrying the team. 27 points,
29 for our Geico play of the game, Kahlia Lawrence. Not only that, we noted 30 made field goals this weekend, just 3 off of the tournament record.
4.5 minutes left. And certainly can match that record. But she's also the kind of player, she's not going to take shots just to take them. She's going to involve her teammates, and that's what she's done well throughout this ball game. And the senior-led Mercer Bears squad poised to have a big celebration.
Alex Williams, her dad was a college basketball player, and she has had a fine career with the Mercer Bears. Williams now adding to her point total with a couple of free throws. In the ball game, she has 12. An 18-point lead for the Mercer Bears, and that's their largest of the game, and nearly a turnover. Kopney tried to feed underneath. Scrappy hands, scrappy work. Amanda Thompson still battling. Couple of bucks on the floor, and she and Sadeja Tips tie up, and the arrow will keep it on that end with 8 currently on the shot clock.
Amanda Thompson getting her hands in there multiple times to shake the ball loose, and as it continued to bat around, she continued to get the ball back. Looks like the officials are discussing whether or not reset the. And they are. They're going to reset the shot clock. Felt like possession had exchanged hands.
I wasn't sure what they were going to do with the shot clock there because it went back and forth so much. And so an opportunity, but coming up on 4 to go. Time running thin for these Bucs. They have not been good from beyond the arc, to say the least. Just 1 out of 15. Held ball again, going the other way. And when you shoot only 7% beyond the arc and you're facing a scoring machine like number 24 on Mercer, that's going to mean a difficult avenue to try to get a victory.
Kahlia Lawrence, we've been so high on her in terms of her offense and what she brings, but twice in this game today, it's been her defense that has really made a difference and changed some momentum.
Means the crossover, can't get the scoop to fall. Haynes Overton racing front court. Copney quickly to Tarter. Step through for the senior Tiana Tarter out of Johnson City. And that bucket for Tarter gives her 10 in the game.
Yeah, Tarter has been most effective when she can take the ball to the rim. She struggled from behind the arc today, and probably a bit of frustration, but continuing to play hard and continuing to get the ball to the basket.
Williams down the left side of the lane with a spin. We're showing you some game right there. Thompson battling, and as the buzzer goes off, Copley had possession, so shot clock violation.
Deja Tips made that happen, not affecting the shot on both attempts.
Erica Haynes Overton, her team now 1 out of 16 on three-point tries. They came into this game shooting just 26% from long range. That one almost went down from afar, but Tips has the rebound.
Well, Mercer players getting a little ahead of themselves, put up 2 very quick shots, and that gives ETSU a chance to put down some baskets. And Susie Garner, she's talking to her coaching staff, she's like, why are we shooting so quickly? You know, the clock's in our favor.
Sure, making it a 13-point ball game. She's just about a 24% three-point shooter on the season. As we wind down the final stages of our championship game, ETSU showing some life. ETSU showing some life. Later on today, we hope you join us for our men's semifinal games. The Wofford Terriers, the 5th seed, taking on the UNCG Spartans, the regular season champs yet again. A ball club that was able to outlast the Citadel, put them away late, get to the semis, trying to advance on to the title game for a second straight year. And then ETSU and Furman in the nightcap, so the ETSU fans who came down to see their women will hang around and watch another of their teams try to get a victory.
Well, the nice thing, ETSU is 45 minutes up the road, so those fans that aren't here yet can certainly get down here for that late game.
Sydney Means breaking the pressure. And Lawrence almost lost it out, and then more of a hip check by Sure into the boards, if you will, but probably not the worst time to foul, though you're putting a great free throw shooter on the line. And if you try to foul to get back in this game, you're almost giving Mercer 2 points. They have so many great foul shooters.
This was just a momentum play. Saw the loose ball, a little mishandle from Lawrence, and Sure trying to get a hand in there, poke it out or something, and picks up the foul.
Just a second on the quarter for ETSU, so they have to come up with 3 more fouls to put the Bears on the line. Then, of course, it's 2 free throws, so not necessarily a huge advantage.
And Mercer now doing a better job with the clock. There's Tips defending. This time she does get a piece of the arm, and Williams once again with that ability to get to the basket, where she has been one of the unsung heroes of this game. We talk a lot about Lawrence, but when she came in, she really was the person that sparked the runs for Mercer.
Well, you'll see a 13-point lead. Williams off the bench with 12, so Lawrence has been the one to maintain, but it's Williams who's been the one who's given the comfortable working margin, and she now has 13 in the game against these Bucs this year. She had a combined 13 points, so she's now matched that. And her career high came against ETSU last year when she had 22, so maybe something about seeing that blue and gold staring her in the face.
Well, the funny thing is, in this league, there are 3 blue and gold teams, so
Yeah.
you're going to see a lot of blue and gold when you play in the SOCON.
Oh, nearly a steal by Callaway, firing Kokney, not able to get it. Under 2 minutes to go. And Charter, step for step with Means. Haynes Overton, I think, went for the foul, but now Mercer's going to back it up.
Means just dodging everybody, but then instead of going off and trying to create, she just pulls back out, resets, using the shot clock, now down to 8. You have to get Kahlia Lawrence or somebody to take a shot.
Callaway losing it. And getting it right back. Wow. Kiki Callaway, 44 steals on the year as the day began. They've got several at 40+, and then Means up near 80. And those Mercer Bear fans, and what a great job they do traveling. You see them sensing it. They've been sensing it probably for a while. Means feeding, and Williams couldn't finish, but there's Thompson, and she'll do the smart thing, just get it out of there as we come up on a minute to go.
3 possessions in a row. And Susie Garner saying, don't shoot. They don't have to shoot. They don't have to give it up. They'll wind it down and continue to move the ball around. They want Sydney Means to get it.
So what about the NCAA tournament seeding now for these soon-to-be champion Mercer Bears as the foul is committed by Charter?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. We know that Chattanooga's been as high as a 12 seed. They were a 13 seed last year with some quality wins. And Mercer going 30-2 and undefeated in the conference can make a case for it. It just sort of depends on who else ends up in the tournament play.
And these things are...
They'll be higher than a 16 seed, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and as they do things, it's human beings picking it. They've got to see those 30 wins and what will be a 27th straight win. And the unbeaten conference record, those are factors that I just think are going to make the committee really double-check their homework, so to speak, and making out the bracket.
Yeah, a signature win against an ACC team, and making a statement in the league in terms of where they are, and a statement with their non-conference schedule.
Now, Charter had the ball for a final time in her career. Kokney likewise. Dean inside. Final seconds going to tick off, and the Mercer Bears will win their first SOCON title.